Welcome to the program. As Marvin said when he came in today, we did it. Marv Madness in April. Yay.
All right. Yeah, Marv.
Yep. Marv, the Celebrity Bracket Challenge winner. Seton finished second. Jim Boeheim rounding out the top three. UConn grad. Marvin, the Fresh Prince. And our Huskies did it last night in convincing fashion.
No one thought it was possible, but we did it for a fifth time.
Yep, you and Danny Hurley. Here is the UConn head coach after winning it all.
Big East was the best conference in the country this year. We were the most successful in the NCAA tournament, and we have the national championship. So we were the best league in the country this year, and I don't think that's going to change with the type of coaches that now have moved around. I don't think we're going anywhere. I know we're not.
Big East, a historical basketball conference, but, you know, they had the gold rush for TV contracts and football programs in 2013, and then the conference looked unrecognizable. Syracuse, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Notre Dame all decided to depart, and that was a major blow for what was once the best conference, basketball conference in America. But the Big East is back. Connecticut's win last night. The Big East has now won 3 of the last 7 national titles. Villanova's an elite program. St. John's just got Rick Pitino. Georgetown poached former Providence coach Ed Cooley. Xavier, Creighton, Marquette. They were all top 6 seeded teams in the tournament. Transfer portal is changing college sports right before our very eyes, and there's no reason to think that the Big East won't be formidable once again in 2024. A lot was made of, well, is Connecticut a blue blood? Well, they might be a new blood, because I think of blue bloods, these are schools that won titles back in the 40s or 50s or 60s, and that's why they got the name or label blue bloods. Connecticut has been the best program as far as winning national titles in the last 25 years. You know, it's 5 in, 24 years. It's just they have been sporadic. They've been really, really good, and then they've been average or not even making the tournament, getting a coach fired. But having 3 different coaches winning national championships is very impressive. But when we look at blue bloods, and I don't know why we get caught up in that. It's like mid-majors. You know, is Gonzaga mid-major? Hey, we're not a mid-major. Who cares? You're just a really good basketball program. Hey, we're a blue blood. Okay. Do you want to be a blue blood? Because some of those blue bloods haven't done much recently. Yes, Eden.
It's almost like that's why this is a huge topic this year, is because the blue bloods are not relevant.
Well, they're not blue. You know, they're a different shade, a lighter shade. They're like a light blue, not a dark blue.
It's like the blue bloods have a lot of people in sports media who are sort of like bringing the topic up, like, no. Remember, they're actually not in our group yet still, UConn. They're in like the Gonzaga group. They're not in our group yet because we still own it.
Yeah, Gonzaga hasn't won anything. They're a great program. Are they a blue blood? No. Are they a mid-major? No. I think we got to get rid of all those designations because of what is happening in college athletics now. Because you can, San Diego State coming out of nowhere or Florida Atlantic coming out of nowhere. Get used to this. Because I do think, and we'll talk to Seth Greenberg from the mothership, I think the formula is let's have a couple of guys that we recruit, but then let's bring in a couple of these players who might be seniors or they might be grad students. This is really what's happening with college basketball because of name, image, and likeness. Transfer portal, and you can make some money there. It's formulaic. These coaches are going to look at who is successful. Why are they successful? I mean, Kim Mulkey at LSU, she had one player. All of a sudden, she goes, let me revamp the roster. Come on in. Who wants to play for me? Hall of Fame coach. They end up winning a national championship. Danny Hurley did a wonderful job getting the right players to fit in with players that he already had. All right, I got ahead of myself because Marv's so excited today. One of the great days in his life. And as far as your son being born, getting married, and UConn winning the national championship, how would you rank those?
So right now, my wedding and my son's birth are fighting for number 2.
Okay, all right, rightfully so. There are a lot of people probably watched on the East Coast or Midwest, didn't get to see the end of the game. Spoiler alert. UConn blew this open. It was interesting for a little while with San Diego State. They made a run, And, at halftime, Charles Barkley said, I still think, San Diego State's going to win. Knucklehead.
General Salami.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, I think Kenny Smith probably put in some really good insight there as well. And then second half, it was Connecticut pulling away. And I thought it was going to be, it got interesting. And then I never thought that UConn wasn't going to win it. UConn was a better team. And I didn't think San Diego State could score enough to stay in the game. And you saw that. They had, long stretches where they didn't score. Yes, Seton.
Hey, I mean, look, last night, okay, the better team won.
Yeah. Is that your analysis?
If you shoot 32% from the field, you can't win the national title.
You normally can't.
You cannot miss baskets and still win.
Sonogo finished the tournament 118 points, 59 rebounds, shot just under 67% from the floor. The last time you had somebody with those numbers, there's been 5 in the last 40 years who've had at least 100 points, 50 rebounds, while shooting 65% or better from the floor. Let me see if there's anyone that might surprise you. Blake Griffin did it, Oklahoma, 2009. Sean May, North Carolina, 05. Juwan Howard, 1994 with Michigan. And Ala Abdul Nabi with Duke, 1990.
That's your wheelhouse.
Sounded like stat of the day.
Woo! Ow! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! This is the stat of the day!
In case you're wondering, stat of the day brought to you by Panini America, the official trading cards of the Dan Patrick Show. The last 3 teams to win a national title as a number 3 seed or worse. UConn this year is a 4. UConn is a 7 in 2014. UConn is a 3 in 2011. No. Got to give them credit. Okay. All right. Stat of the day. Yeah. They picked their spots. But Connecticut, I don't even think they were ranked preseason. Then they had a really good start. And I mentioned this story, but I'll bring it up again because it was I was reminded of this. I was in Jersey City, and I ran into Bob Hurley, the father of Danny and Bobby Hurley, legendary high school coach. And we started talking, and I said, what happened to, Danny's Huskies? He goes, well, they ran into conference play. You're good prior to getting into conference play where we're finding out the Big East might be the best conference in basketball. And he started breaking this down a little bit. He said, but by playing that schedule, they'll be ready for March Madness. Yes, Seton.
And throughout the entire tournament, Danny Hurley was banging that drum. People would say, hey, you guys are on a great run. He'd be like, well, yeah, the conference schedule was really tough, but once we got out of conference, it was a breeze.
Yes.
And he was just killing other conferences.
Yes, and that's what his dad said before the tournament even started. And it was just like, hey, they dominated, and then they got into conference play, and you're not going to dominate in that conference. It's going to make them a better team at the end of the year. Made them national champs. Yeah, Paul?
I don't know if this is a poll, but what is Danny Hurley's career? What was it is akin to? He has a famous father, pretty famous in the high school coaching rankings, one of the all-time famous high school coaches. His brother gets real famous at Duke and has a shortened NBA career and becomes a coach. Danny Hurley had a nice college career, a nice coaching career, and now at age, 50, 51, he's now a star, like a late bloomer. Is there a Hollywood comparison to that, or famous siblings, or a sports comparison? It's not like Sylvester Stallone's brother winning an Academy Award, is it? Or
well, but Frank didn't win anything.
Right. What would it be like?
Well, Del Curry was famous as a great shooter,
Okay.
and then Steph came along and changed all of that. And then Seth Curry came in, but Seth hasn't won anything.
So if Seth Curry wins Most Valuable Player of the Finals.
Yes, then maybe.
There you go.
Yeah, or goes into coaching and ends up winning an NBA championship. Yeah, I don't know what the parallel would be with, because he was always in the shadow of Bobby as a player, and even at coaching, he was at Wagner on Staten Island?
Wagner, I think it was.
Wagner?
Yeah.
Seton Hall, Rhode Island, and then got his big break. And crowds were rough on Danny Hurley because he was never going to be Bobby. Bobby's one of the great point guards in the history of college basketball. And then you have a father who's one of the great high school coaches in the history of high school basketball. But this is a big moment. That was a big moment. And congratulations to him. It's like you're an overnight success at age 50. That's what it felt like for Danny Hurley. But they were the better team by far, and blowing teams out, it doesn't happen very often where you're winning by close to 20 points every single game in March Madness.